Over the years, both as a church planter and now kind of leading within the church planting world, I've had a lot of conversations with potential planters or even pastors of existing churches, just asking, what does it take to be a successful church planter? Or what should we look for when it comes to who can plant a church successfully? I've taken a lot of those conversations and kind of gathered them, and I want to give you today 13 habits that I think every church planter has to master in order to be successful. 13 because it's a lucky number. But the first thing is this. Let me encourage you, you got to know and love your city. Let me ask you this. Would you want to live in your city if you weren't the pastor in that city? Do you know the makeup of your city? What is it about your city that's special? What is the soul, in other words, of your city? Why would people want to stay there? Why would people want to move there? The more that you know about your city, the more that I think you'll find you love your city. But the more you love your city, the better your ministry will be within that city. The second thing is this. Learn to prioritize friendships. Most church planters, they're lonely. And let's be realistic, most often it's their fault. Don't settle for superficial relationships or even building a church where everyone has a deep friendship, but you sit alone at the top. I'm encouraged by the fact that Jesus had a close-knit group of friends. If Jesus needed close friends, my suggestion is we do too. It's how God made us. So make pursuing and enjoying real friendships just a normal part of your week. Perhaps you can put it even into your job description. I think planters and pastors should be men who have incredible friendships. There's just no way to navigate the calling that God has called you to and navigate the challenges that you're going to face in the church planting world without having a close group of great friends. The third thing is this. Men, disciple other men. See, Jesus invested his life in a handful of men, and look what they did. They changed the world. As the leader, invest your life in a handful of other people that will actually help set the culture of your church. Now, don't spread yourself too thin. My encouragement is pick a few people that you will invest in that will actually take time to invest in others as well as you've invested in them. The fourth habit is the habit of rest, or the habit of taking a Sabbath. Church planting is a very creative profession. If you don't rest and refill yourself along the way, you're going to burn out. Figure out your own rhythms to rest. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. When do you need to unplug? How do you like to play? How does your play bring rest to you? Take time monthly that just gives you space to think, to be creative. How does your cup get filled? Make sure that you plan moments during your month, during your week, that your personal cup is actually getting filled. How about annually? My family, we like to get out of town, as much as we possibly can, but we always block away a couple weeks in the summer, a couple weeks in the winter, that we just escape, and it allows us to connect deeper, have fun, we laugh, we play games, and that time for us is restful. You've got to take time, schedule your rest. The fifth habit, I would encourage you, and I'd call it this, unleash your rookies. I believe that some of your best ministry actually happens through new believers. Don't wait for people to kind of ripen on the vine. We have an enormous mission, and the best news is in our city. God is able to use anybody and seems to love doing a very special work through those that are new into relationship with Him. So give them a vision. Encourage them, equip them, set them loose, even before they may feel ready to do so. Number 6, don't run from risk. Too many church planners settle for a ministry that can be really explained by their own resources and abilities. Jesus loves your church. Jesus loves your city more than you do. Push into the impossible. Trust God to show up. Pray big, act big, lead big. This is the kind of ministry worth giving your life for. 7th habit, prepare for war. In other words, there is a call to understand that there is a spiritual thing in which you're about. And in that, you're going to be at war with the evil one. Take time, focus, resist the devil. Satan hates you. He hates your church. And the reality is he's very tricky. He will seek to breed disunity within your church. He will seek to discourage you in ministry. Lies will be spoken. And there will be moments in which he will do everything he possibly can to get at you and your family. You have to be a fighter. Spend time on your knees praying. Church planting will always feel like a fight. Embrace this reality and fight the good fight. 8th thing is this: do what you love. I love this quote by Mark Sanborn, that one of the quickest ways to burn out is to stop doing what you enjoy. Most church planters stop doing what they enjoy. What do you love to do? When is the last time you got a chance to do that? You have to be responsible for yourself. And I've had to learn for my own well-being that I have to remind myself on a regular basis to go out and do something. Maybe it's ride my bike, work out, go throw a football with my son. But make sure that you take time, set aside time to do something that has nothing to do with work, but it's just invigorating for you personally. Number 9, date your spouse. It's important to take time to connect with your spouse and to keep your marriage strong and healthy. You're going to face things together that you never thought you would ever face. The challenges may be bigger than any challenge that you ever thought. And pastors, the reality is we are in very unique positions of having the one job where marriage can actually disqualify you. We can never do what we do without our spouse. Don't forget this. Love them well, date them, enjoy the journey together. Number 10, protect the culture. The values written on your walls really don't matter if your culture doesn't reinforce them. Culture trumps everything. As a planner, you have to be the one that sets the culture of your church. In other words, you are the cultural architect. Don't delegate that out. If you don't set it intentionally, it will set itself. You got to do it early and realize that you're always setting and protecting the culture of your church. Number 11, have a good financial plan. It's too bad, but this one is actually easy to ignore. But nobody will think of this but you. Cities are expensive, and you'll need to have a plan for how you and your family will be taken care of so that you're not constantly having to worry about how are we actually going to provide for them. Have a game plan. Know what your budget is. Know how you're going to meet that budget. I know this isn't rocket science, but for some reason it's hard for many of us to learn to live by this. If you spend less than you make, you're going to be okay. But take time to save for retirement, save for the future. Have a healthy perspective of your finances. Number 12 habit is get your sermon done early. I found it works so much better for me to aim to get my sermon done no later than Wednesday afternoon. And what that does is it gives me the rest of the week to kind of be with people, handle other responsibilities. Not having my sermon done by Wednesday afternoon, I find that oftentimes it's hanging over my head the rest of the week. Discover the rhythms that work best for you, your family, your church, and stick to it. 13, our last habit, stay excited about Jesus. Guys, this is the single most important thing that you can do for yourself and for the church. Your leadership flows out from the relationship that you have with Jesus. So your most important meeting of the day is the meeting in which you connect with Him. Stay encouraged. Stay excited about Jesus. And if you do that, you'll be healthy in the way you lead.